my introductory remarks. I think I'm moderating a panel. I see Michele and Benoit. I think the sequence was as a dispute resolution chamber member for the last 20 years. I think I give the first word to Michele, you will hear it from the horse's mouth, and then over to Benoit as a practitioner working in this area with many, many other sports lawyers who probably also owe a debt of gratitude to the European Commission. So, Michele.
Thank you so much, Alistair. Thank you to the President Infantino. Thank you to all of you for this occasion. Before going on, I have the ethical duty to say that I will intervene in my personal capacity, and I do not represent the opinion of the interest of the European Commission and the FIFA. 20 years ago, I was in Zurich for the first time when the FIFA DRC met. I was the youngest one. I remember the enthusiasm, but also the excitement that we had because we knew that we were entering in a new era after the Bosman ruling. I remember also the sense of responsibility that we had because we realized that our decisions would have affected the sports and economic existence of clubs, as well as the life and professional careers of professional players all over the world. We would have decided on the basis of that time the new FIFA regulations, following the 11 principles negotiated and agreed with the European Commission, as pointed out by President Monti. We would have created a new jurisprudence which eventually would have been reflected in the future versions of the FIFA regulations and also duly analyzed in the FIFA commentary that I have always here. It's quite used, and it's indeed the time to get the new one as soon as possible. We were confronted as judges with new concepts: the protected period, the solidarity mechanism, the sports just cause, the specificity of sport written for the first time in the FIFA regulations themselves. I remember the first cases when we awarded highest amount of compensations as a consequence of a termination without just cause of a contract. When we applied for the first time the sports sanctions on clubs and players, that inevitably provoked a strong reaction on the sports stakeholders. I would like to mention, if you allow me, only one case, just to explain you the impact that the EU principles as integrated in a sense in the FIFA regulations had on football. It was the Bueno Rodriguez case. The case of two Uruguayan footballers who dared to terminate their contract for just cause because they could not accept the unilateral and disproportionate extension of their contract in favor only of the club. They could not accept it. They challenged the clause before the DRC. And guess what? The DRC said, they are right. We could not accept this because this would have been an obstacle to the freedom of movement. As you can imagine, the reaction of the football world in Latin America at that time was quite heavy. I remember I was also there when FIFA organized a meeting with the presidents of all sports federations from South America. They came there. They were not happy at all. They were angry, but really angry. And they had only one question to FIFA, to FIFA, to the FIFA DRC. Why? Why should we accept a decision taken by the DRC on the basis of a FIFA regulations agreed upon, watch out, a commission in Brussels? Why? Because it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you are. The very moment you touch the European Union, EU law applies to you. And what is the European Union about? It is about freedom. Freedom to move from a country to another one. Freedom to provide services. Freedom to compete on the market. These are fundamental principles that apply to undertakings, also to the international sports associations. And this led me to the conclusion that, to the point that exactly the President Infantino and the President Monti were saying. In a sense, with this case also, we brought this EU principle at a global level via the FIFA regulations and this specific decision of the DRC. Now, of course, FIFA had the obligation not only to implement these fundamental principles, its own regulation. FIFA had also to create a new arbitration system, the dispute resolution system, that, if you want, was not one of the main or the most important principles agreed upon with the European Commission. But the European Commission really wanted to have an arbitration system which was, these were the exact terms, effective, quick, and objective. Is the system effective? Well, look at the figures that have been published just the other day in the FIFA report. The FIFA DRC was able to decide in the sporting season 2020-21, 1,089 cases, 1,089 decisions, with the time average to take a decision of 3-4 months. Is the system objective? Well, the composition of the FIFA DRC speaks again by itself. The Commission wanted to have in place a system composed of an equal number of players and clubs representatives. This was something unique in the sports world, and still it is unique. And actually, it's taken as example now for other international federations and for the Football National Federation. See that FIFA and FIFPro actually started a new program encouraging the creation of national dispute resolution chamber on an equal foot of representation of players and clubs. Is the system perfect? No, of course it is not perfect. But we do all strive for the best. We do it, if you allow me, Mr. President, using the FIFA word, for the good of the game, but also to the benefit of players and clubs.
I could not agree more, Alistair. And you mentioned as an EU law practitioner, how do I see this? And I'm actually reminded of the quote, the comments earlier from President